Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Litter Media Live. It is Thursday already.
Wednesday.
September 21st of 2023. And it's really odd because here you and I are sitting here. We're not watching each other. This is the first time we've done this show where we've not seen the screen because running the controls for the first time today is Mr. Aaron Glandon. The newest member of Litter Media.
Is this the sign of the apocalypse? You've been crying for a producer for 40 years, and you finally got one.
We have a producer. so right now he's like the guy in the truck.
He's the guy in the truck.
We don't have a truck to put him in. But maybe one of these days, that'll be the next thing. Well, yeah. But then it's just that guy down in the van by the river, you know?
Hopefully not by the river, no.
Welcome to the program. Thank you for watching today. And coming up here shortly, we'll get you caught up to date on news topics as well as sports. This date in history, which we harken back to
1792. Your birth date.
we're stepping in it for sure. Yeah. So that's all just ahead. But first, let's take a look at what our weather is doing for today.
Yeah, some more nice days ahead of us. Sunny skies today with a high of 81, sunny 82 for tomorrow. We were chatting just a little bit about this yesterday concerning the football games tomorrow night. Looks like the temperatures will be down in the upper 70s by kickoff, but by the end of the game around 10 o'clock Friday, you're probably looking at temperatures in the low 60s. The actual overnight will get down into the 50s. Earlier, we were saying a chance of rain on Sunday. I just heard them say this morning, now they're pushing that back to maybe the middle of next week.
Caught that last night on the evening news. Yeah. So I saw that and I thought to myself, oh, so much for Mike Smith's forecast.
And my mowing the yard. I'm not going to kill it by mowing brown grass.
Understood. Mine's still green. We're blessed.
Mine's green in certain places and then
is that right?
Brown. And I think under the trees, which get the shade, it stays green. But out in that sun, it'll eat it up.
Sounds like you need more trees out there in the
don't tell my wife that.
Yeah, that's right, because when she's gone, that's when you trim the bushes.
Or hit my head on the branch mowing the yard and knocking my head off.
Gotcha. We don't want that to happen. News story, Mike Smith passed out in his backyard because he got knocked out by a tree branch.
Yeah, really. So. But that made for an interesting Sunday school lesson the following Sunday, yeah. See, you were talking about your Sunday school lesson yesterday.
Right. So. I don't know if I could have rather had a whack to the head or walking through the snow
blizzard
to get there. All right. If you want to know more about that story, take a look at yesterday's show here on Facebook Live with our video page, or you can go back to our YouTube channel where you'll find that as well. Coming up, a look at news on the way next. But first, let's tell you about Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. They are really prepared to take care of all of those circumstances. If it's not hot enough in your house, they can get it taken care of. If it's not cold enough in the house, they can take care of that. If it's your business, they can take care of that. Find out more by clicking on this ad anywhere you see it at littermedia.com for your trusted comfort advisor, Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
At Rathkamp Financial, we believe in building client relationships for the long term, guiding you through the stages of wealth with a plan and bringing you closer to reaching your financial dreams. We believe in long-term relationships and working to earn your continued trust with our customized investment solutions.
All right, it is news time, and what is making news for us today at littermedia.com and also on our social media?
Are you a fan of llamas?
Llamas. I remember, I don't know if your daughter got into the Animaniacs or not.
I don't think so. No.
There was a moment where they had to go to the mountain, and they had to, this is the Warner Brothers, they had to go to the mountain and meet with the sage advice of a llama. And you've heard of the Dalai Lama.
Oh, yeah, right.
Well, this was a llama, and he had his legs crossed, and he was going, llama, 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 llama. That's as close as I've been to a llama.
Well, I don't know that any of these llamas can do that, or the alpacas, but don't miss National Alpaca Farm Days, September the 23rd through 24th at A&R Alpaca Farm. This is up off of Route 22 near Williamsport. You might recognize some of these names. Aaron and Robin Reidenauer. Aaron is the volleyball coach up at Logan Elm, used to be at Uniota, but they have run this farm, but they opened it up to the community. The kids can come out with the rest of the family and see the alpacas. They even have a gift shop there. Tours and visits are also available by appointment throughout the year. Just call them at 614-361-8789.
And I have to correct something. I guess I've been close to one of these at, I want to say at one of the county fairs. They had some llamas and alpacas there. So I guess I have been close to them.
Because with Litter Media Video, we can look back and find that you really were there.
Well, and otherwise we'd have to go to Bolivia and see them in the mountains.
Yeah. Some other news out of Pickaway County. The Library Board of Trustees has hired Drew Wichterman as the library director. Wichterman is from the Tip City Public Library, where he worked as assistant director and adult services librarian for 6 years. Prior to that, he worked for the Dayton Metro Library for 3 years with teens and outreach services. You might remember that Michelle Callahan has been filling in as the interim director over the last several months, and actually, we're going to have Drew with us on a special edition of Litter Media Live coming up on October the 11th. He had a commitment for next Wednesday and couldn't be with us for a Pickaway County special edition, but scheduled for October the 11th. Ross County Health District has set up a dozen remote flu shot clinics around the county between October the 2nd and 18th. The health district will accept most insurances, but you must have your insurance ID card available to receive the benefit. Now, the cost of the vaccination, if you don't have insurance, is $30. For more information, call the health district. Ross County Humane Society is inviting the community to an evening of fun, costumes, and fundraising at their 6th annual Howl at the Moon charity costume party on October the 13th. This will be at Creekside Occasions off State Route 772 Chillicothe from 7 to 11 p.m. Tickets are $40 per person or $70 per customer, or per couple, not customer. You can get the tickets online at Eventbrite. And is Jen coming in to talk more about this soon, or?
We don't have her scheduled
Okay, I don't know why I was thinking that she was coming back for that. Lee Van Allen has been named Ohio Wildlife Officer of the Year. This, according to the Department of Natural Resources Division of Wildlife. Van Allen of Nashport has nearly 30 years of service. He's a graduate of the 1996 Wildlife Officer Academy and worked as a wildlife officer assigned to Jackson County for more than a dozen years and was promoted to a supervisor position in 2006. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Donors are needed to help ensure blood and platelets are on the shelves for cancer patients and others who rely on transfusions for care. There are 10 blood drives scheduled in October for Ross County, 3 in Fayette, and 1 in Highland County. You have a special edition of Litter Media Live coming up at 1 today.
Melody Lemczynski is scheduled to join us, and she's going to be talking about there you see her standing next to the Purple Heart monument there in Chillicothe. She's going to be talking about the institution of a military museum here in Chillicothe. So, of course, with a place like Camp Sherman having been here, how do you not have a military museum? So that will be our topic of discussion about 1 o'clock today.
All righty. In our road report, we stay in Ross County. Work for a bridge maintenance project on US 35 eastbound between Eastern Avenue and US 50 on the bridge over the Scioto River. At least one lane of traffic is being maintained in the eastbound lanes. Westbound 35 is unaffected. But this project will stretch through the winter months, which would be through the end of December. Mm-hmm. And that is a look at your topics for today.
Do you recall helping teach Sarah to drive? Remember what it was like when you had to sit in the passenger seat for the first time, and there she was behind the controls.
Yes.
And all. This is kind of the feeling that I have right now.
With Aaron.
With Aaron is over there pushing buttons and flipping switches and everything for us. And I sat here thinking to myself, this is like when Dan Jr. had the wheel for the first time.
But we're not going to die if he makes a mistake.
Amen to that.
In a car, we could.
However, our images may die.
Well,
So branding's everything, Mike, right?
I've been told that.
I recall we had gone down to, back then it was Tom's Restaurant. I don't know that it's still open anymore, but down along 32, 124. And so we had picked up the pizza. I was letting him drive back to the Ramey Ranch. And so as we crossed 32, there was a state patrolman who had someone pulled over at 124. And I could not get him to stop looking in the rearview mirror. Because as soon as we took off, he says, "Oh my gosh, here he comes. He's behind us." And I said, "Pretend like he's not even there. Just do what you're supposed to do." I never thought that that moment would lead to several years of him trying to outrun law enforcement.
Yeah, really.
Not literally. I'm just joking, because some people tend to get a number of tickets.
Should we mention names?
Well, you and I both have been there.
One that we used to work with.
One that we used to work with used to get spotted from the air a number of times.
And the irony is now he's
working for the Ohio Department of
Transportation. So, it used to be a joke with our brother Matt Bruning.
I wasn't going to name names, Matt,
I'm throwing him out. I think we did it on the radio years ago, so it's already out there.
Yeah. He probably feels the heat of being run over again for a second time. So, all right, coming up in a moment, we'll take a look at sports for you, so stick close for that. And this date in history, the Litter Media Wayback Machine is dialed up for 1792. Details coming up. But first, Scioto Valley Dumpsters. If you have need for a dumpster, you've got a remodeling project at home or your business, you're changing things out. I saw yesterday, I was driving down the road, and a mobile home was gone, and what was left was the dumpster.
Oh, my.
So if you have a circumstance like that, and I'm telling you, the folks at Scioto Valley Dumpsters can also do demo work. So if you've got an old mobile home you want to get rid of, they can tear that thing down for you. Give them a call at 740-253-8389 and tell them that Dan and Mike sent you for Scioto Valley Dumpsters.
This is Andy Tomlinson. When ensuring what's important to you, our agents are there when you need us the most. Tomlinson Insurance, for the best coverage at the best cost. Visit us online at tomlinsonins.com to learn more.
For transportation options in Ross County, call Ross County Health District's Mobility Management Team, 740-779-9652.
If you can't give true love to me, I'll understand. Just
it's only worth it if you enjoy it. Michelob Ultra.
In sports, high school activity, is that what we're starting?
Well, the game of the week,
yes,
which is tomorrow night. It's hard to believe it's Friday, almost Friday already.
Which leads us to today is our Litter Media Game of the Week pregame show. And that will come up after this program, about 12 p.m. And we'll be looking at Hillsboro coming to Chillicothe this week.
We've got Scott Bartholomew in an interview. We were unable to get a hold of Coach Horn, but we do have some information about the Indians to share with you or during that preview show.
And we'll also have information about the CHS Alumni Night. We'll visit with Taylor Bonner in a conversation that we had earlier this week and telling you more about what to expect tomorrow night.
All righty. Now let's go to golf. A couple of conference championships have either been decided last night or will be decided today. Let's start with the SVC. A late season surge has enabled the Uniota Shermans to move past the Westfall Mustangs in the SVC boys golf standings with only 2 rounds to play, and that is taking place now. Uniota took first in match 6 last night at the JC's course, firing a 172. Zane Trace was second and Westfall third. The two-place difference between Unioto and Westfall has propelled the Shermans to first in the season standings with 43 points, Westfall's second with 42. As you might remember, the Mustangs won the first 4 matches of the conference season, but in the last 2, Unioto won. Westfall was fourth 2 matches back and third last night, which is how Unioto has propelled past them. They are playing matches 7 and 8 right now at the Elks course in Portsmouth, Ohio. So we will get word probably by mid to late afternoon on how that wraps up. But right now, only 1 point separates those 2 teams with the 2 rounds to go.
At some point in time in the season, I just kind of envisioned Patton and tanks moving in, and you can hear the tanks moving in, coming back, and getting right back into the thick of this race.
Yeah, Charlie Lewis, by the way, was the medalist of Unioto with a 37 last night. But keep watching our littermedia.com site. As soon as we get the results this afternoon, we'll get that posted for you. The SOC Divisions 1 and 2 decided their boys golf championships last night. Valley won the SOC 1, and Wheelersburg took the championship in SOC 2. That also was played at the Elks Country Club in Portsmouth last night. Cameron Phillips of Valley shot an 8 under 64. That is smoking.
That is.
64 to get the Player of the Year honors for SOC 1. Brady Gill of Wheelersburg fired a 5 over 77 for Player of the Year honors in SOC 2.
The 64, you could qualify for the next major.
That is outstanding. That's and Elks is not an easy course to play down there. Well, the Redlegs had a 3-1 lead late in the game yesterday. Hunter Green pitched lights out. He had 14 strikeouts, but then the bullpen came on, and they lose to the Twins 5-3, so they lose 2 out of 3 in that series. The Reds are idle today. They open their final homestand of the season tomorrow night against the Pittsburgh Pirates, who helped us by beating the Cubs last night.
But they still are, a game and a half out now of the wild card.
Right, because Arizona is they're actually in the second spot ahead of the Cubs.
Correct.
Guardians, gee whiz, I lost to Kansas City again yesterday. Again, KC's lost 102 games this year. So
if KC's not going to lose 103, if the Guardians have to do anything about it. So
I think the Guardians have waved the white flag. We don't talk about the Columbus Crew much, but they did clinch an MSL playoff berth last night with a 3-0 win over Chicago. And a story that we had that came into us late, just before we went on the air yesterday, the Browns did sign Mr. Hunt as the running back to replace Nick Chubb.
And apparently they kept the relationship with him. And I wondered during Monday Night Football, during the game, as soon as we saw the injury to Nick Chubb, I thought to myself, I wonder if Andrew Berry is on the phone with him right now. And ESPN did show a picture of Andrew Berry about that time. Yeah. So I don't know if he was talking to him then or what.
Contract reportedly 1 year for $4 million. I think I could do that for $4 million a year.
I could sign the contract. I don't know if I could take a hit.
Well, all you need to take is one, and then you're out. If it's a guaranteed contract,
if it's a guaranteed contract,
you get your money. Yeah.
Can you imagine? Yeah, you sign this, and as soon as you sign it, you're thinking to yourself,
"Okay, here it comes.
Miles Garrett is going to hit me in practice. I don't know if this is a good thing." So, I want to take a moment to say hi to the folks watching today. Marin McAllister, who's been on this program. Congratulations, and welcome to the program today. Steve Truniff, also Jeff DuBois, just picking up there, along with Mariah, I believe it's Bienia, is how it's pronounced.
Got me on that one.
Bienia. And Luella Kearns. Hi, Gammy.
Hello.
And also, Aunt Ruth is watching in.
My Aunt Ruth, Aaron's grandmother.
And there's somebody else by the name of Amy Glandon.
Mom's
she's related to. So,
she's doing fine, Mom.
Yeah, and she's probably thinking to herself, I heard that comparison about him driving, and she probably remembers those days of teaching. I assume, did Mom get to ride with you?
Dad, Joe.
Mostly Dad.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, coming up, this date in history next after these words from our sponsors.
Find a career you love with Pickaway Ross Adult Education. Skilled trades careers are in high demand with no signs of slowing down. Pickaway Ross offers career training programs with expert instructors and hands-on learning tactics to create a variety of opportunities. Visit our website for more information.
We are back at it here on Litter Media Live. Before we go any further, I want to take a moment to say Aaron Glenn is doing a fantastic job.
He's doing great.
And yesterday, there was a moment where he was typing things, and it was as if he was reading my mind. We were doing descriptions and all. We were so in tune, and I'm thinking to myself, man, the last guy I trained to do this, it took forever. But this guy is cranking.
Well, after 30 years of radio, I learned to tune out much of what Dan was saying. Aaron hadn't picked up on that yet.
Which is part of the problem.
What did you say?
See? But Aaron's running the show today, so thank you, Aaron. You're doing a fantastic job.
This is fulfilling 40 years of Dan's begging and whining and complaining about
my birthday is next week. Birthday has come. Birthday and Christmas Day all at once. So thank you. All right, this date in history we hear about.
Going back to 1792, the Revolution in France. The Legislative Assembly votes to abolish the monarchy and establish the First Republic. The measure came 1 year after King Louis the 16th reluctantly approved a new constitution that stripped him of much of his power.
Okay, but...
Yeah. Louis ascended the French throne in 1774, and from the start was, it didn't go very well for him. King Louis and his queen, Marie Antoinette, these names start sounding familiar, were imprisoned in August of 1792, and in September, when the monarchy was abolished, it was a year later that they both were sent to the guillotine. He probably shouldn't have signed off on that deal after all. So.
Signing his own sentence there for losing his head.
Really. Yeah. So that's what happened starting on this date in 1792.
I have a Sunday school student who's named David, and we had studied King David there for a while. And then during Vacation Bible School, there was a monarchy theme to it. Mm-hmm. And so the kids had these crowns that they were wearing. So I called him King David. And so I was taking questions from the kids this past Sunday, and he says, yeah, I got a question. How can I actually be King David? And I said, well, first of all, you can't because we're not a monarchy. Mm-hmm. But second of all, you just don't have the, it ain't going to happen. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, you can get you a slingshot and maybe knock off a giant here or there and work your way out.
That's one way you could do that. But I told him, I said, you're just going to have to deal with being dubbed King David by me, and that's about it, which means it's not going to carry much weight. Right. But try and be like King David. Have a heart after God's own heart.
That's right. Or at least most of the good things that David did. Yeah, kind of messed up. Don't do that.
Yeah, to skip the human parts, I guess. That respect. All right, coming up tomorrow, we have another daily show. Mm-hmm. Of course, it's Friday, but we also have a special show for you Friday at 3 o'clock. We'll be talking about the Bainbridge Historical Ghost Walk, which will be taking place. And coming up here at noon, we'll have our Litter Media Game of the Week pregame show featuring Hillsborough and Chillicothe. And at 1 o'clock today, Melody Lipsinski will be here to talk about the potential for a military museum here in Chillicothe. So until those programs, for the icon, Mike Smith, I'm Dan Ramey, the nobody. And for Aaron, the producer,